Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Smart Eye News TV. And today we're going head to head. We have two SEC teams facing off in what is one of the most anticipated games of the year. Now, before we get into it, if you are new here to Smart Eye News TV, make sure you drop that subscription so you can stay up to date with everything college football every single day. Now, let's get into the matchup. We got Georgia versus Tennessee. Now, before we get into who has the advantage in what category, we got to talk about some early injuries for both of these teams. Now, starting off with the Volunteers, they are going to be without quarterback Joe Milton III. He suffered an injury in the first quarter last week against Florida. You saw him get carted off the field, but this week he's been ruled out for the game. So they will be starting Joe Milton II. And then for the Bulldogs, they're going to be without their star defensive lineman, Jalen Carter. Now, Jalen Carter did practice earlier in the week, but apparently he's still not healthy enough to go. So keep that in mind when we look at this matchup, because a big part of the Georgia defense is definitely gone be missing. Also, wide receiver Marcus Rosemy-Jackson will be out for the Bulldogs as well. Alright guys, so now that we know the injury report for both of these teams, let's get into the game plan and see who has the advantage. Alright guys, so starting off with the Volunteers. Their offensive game plan really starts with running back Jalen Wright and wide receiver Squirrel White. Last week against Florida, those two combined for over 238 yards from scrimmage and 2 touchdowns. So when you look at this Georgia defense, they are very tough against the run. They're giving up only 114 yards per game. Now, the Bulldogs do have the advantage up front on the defensive line, so I expect them to stuff the run and force Tennessee to throw the ball. Now, in the passing game, wide receiver Squirrel White is definitely a guy that Georgia has to game plan for. He leads the team with 389 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns. But the Bulldogs do have the advantage in the secondary. They have to shut down corners in Kelly, Ringo, and Amir Speed. So if Georgia can force Tennessee to throw the ball, I like their chances in this game. For the Bulldogs offensively, they're going to continue to use a lot of weapons. Stetson Bennett is going to spread the ball around to different receivers, but the main guy that you have to game plan for is running back Kenny McIntosh. He had a monster performance last week, rushing for 143 yards and 3 touchdowns. But the Volunteers are giving up only 117 yards per game on the ground. So this will be a tough matchup for the Bulldogs' running game. Now, if Georgia wants to move the ball, they're going to have to rely heavily on the passing attack. The good news for the Bulldogs is they do have an advantage at quarterback. Stetson Bennett is playing at a very high level right now, and he can spread the ball around to different playmates. And also for Tennessee, their linebackers are injured. So Georgia should have an advantage in the passing game as well. The next thing I want to look at is the offensive line. For the Volunteers, they're giving up 3 sacks per game. The Bulldogs are only giving up 1 sack per game. So Georgia does have the advantage up front. Now, the Bulldogs are going to have to replace left guard Xavier Truss. He went down last week with an injury. But overall, Georgia does have a very strong offensive line. They're opening holes for their running backs and giving Stetson Bennett time to throw. On the other side, Tennessee is giving up way too many sacks for them to win games. So that's something that they're going to have to clean up. And then the final thing on offense is special teams. Georgia's kicker Jack Podelsny has made all 12 of his extra point attempts and is 6 of 9 on field goals. Tennessee's kicker Chase McGrath has made 11 of 12 extra point attempts. But he missed a 46-yard field goal last week against Florida. So Georgia does have the advantage on special teams. Now let's look at the defenses and see which team has the advantage. So the Bulldogs are giving up only 12 points per game. That's no one in the nation. The Volunteers are giving up 25 points per game. So Georgia does have the advantage on defense. The Bulldogs have done a great job stopping the run. They're giving up only 114 yards per game. Tennessee is giving up 134 yards per game. So Georgia does have the advantage on the defensive line. Linebacker is a position where Tennessee has an advantage. They have some very talented linebackers. But the Bulldogs are going to be without Nolan Smith. He's a very good pass rusher. So that's going to hurt. But Georgia does have the advantage in the secondary. They have shutdown corners in Kelly Ringo and Americo Lee, Tennessee. On the other side, they have some injuries in the secondary, including losing their top 2 safeties. So Georgia should have an advantage in the passing game as well. On the defensive side of the ball, the Bulldogs are only giving up 258 yards per game through the air. The Volunteers are giving up 294 yards per game. So Tennessee does have the disadvantage in the passing game. Now, let's look at the coaching matchup. Kirby Smart versus Josh Heupel. Now, Kirby Smart is in his 7th season at Georgia. He has a record of 63-15. That's a winning percentage of 81.2%. He has won 2 national championships at Georgia. On the other side, Josh Heupel is in his 3rd season at Tennessee. He has a record of 23-13. That's a winning percentage of 63.9%. He has not won a national championship as a head coach. So Kirby Smart does have the advantage in this matchup. And then when it comes to recruiting, Georgia is always in the top 5 every single year. This year they are ranked 4. Tennessee is usually in the top 15. But this year they've fallen out of the top 25. So Georgia does have the advantage when it comes to recruiting. Now let's look at the depth chart. Overall, Georgia is a deeper team. They can replace their starters with their backups and not really skip a beat. For Tennessee, they don't have the same type of depth. So let's take a look at the prediction and see which team is going to win. Well, based on everything that we just talked about, Georgia is the clear favorite. They have the advantage in the trenches on both sides of the ball. They also have the advantage at quarterback and in the secondary. Plus, they're coached by Kirby Smart, who is one of the best coaches in the nation. Now, Tennessee is a dangerous team. Don't get me wrong, they have a lot of playmakers on offense and their linebackers are very good. But overall, Georgia is just a more complete team. They're gonna stuff the run and force Tennessee to throw the ball. And then they re-gone. Take advantage of the injuries in the Tennessee secondary and put up a lot of points. I'm predicting that Georgia is going to win this game, but it's going to be close. So let's go ahead and go with Georgia 27, Tennessee 24. Alright guys, so that's my game plan and prediction for this matchup. Let me know what you think about it down below in the comment section. Who do you think is gonna win? Also, don't forget to crack a joke about the CEO of Smart Eye News TV, Wilfred Osoro. He loves this game. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to Smart Eye News TV so you can stay up to date with everything college football every single day. And we'll catch you next time. Thank you guys for watching. Go to our website to support us and don't forget to like, comment and share.